or good afternoon, depending on where you're joining us from. I'm in Vancouver. The sun is barely getting through the clouds, but we'll take it. It's not raining or snowing. Or people in Calgary, my clients, ouch. Before we get started, have you ever signed up for a podcast or webinar and been really excited ahead of time because the content promised and the speakers accreditation, you're really looking forward to learning something and you're taking time out of your busy schedule to go on the podcast, and you're 20 minutes in and the speaker is still talking all about themselves, how great they are, their accomplishments, books published, how much money they make, blah 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 blah. I don't know about you, but that frustrates the blank out of me. I mean, we're all busy. And especially when you're looking forward to a professional development moment, you're going to be learning something, growing in your career, and then it all turns out to be a sales pitch. It's very frustrating. And I find it 95% of the time that podcasts or webinars are all of that. It's the sales pitch. Well, folks, I have some good news for you right out of the gate. This is not one of those. Okay? I do not operate like that at all. And in fact, I want to be clear. This session is exactly like, well, as close to, because we're not one-on-one, one of my coaching sessions. In other words, the more you put into it, the more you get out of it. And what I mean by that is asking questions. The more you can ask questions about your specific situation, then I can address your specific situation in detail. Now, I will pause at the end of each section. There'll be 3 sections today for questions. However, I do encourage you to interrupt me at any time by raising the hand in the right column. And if I don't see it, Lila, my facilitator, will nudge me and we'll address your questions as you bring them up. Likely, if you're asking the question, then someone else probably has the same thought. Now, if you're not listening to this live, but after the fact, feel free to post a question, which I will definitely respond to directly. Either way, the more questions you ask, the more interactive you are, the more value you get from today's podcast, live or recorded. Okay. Well, first of all, I would like to take a moment to thank Aqua Marketing for sponsoring this Law Water Cooler series. As you can see, this is session 5 out of 8 that we're doing. Today we'll be talking about law firm leadership, part 1. If you're following this, I do encourage you to come back on November 5th or afterwards to participate with law firm leadership, part 2. And also, again, I mentioned Lila before, but I'd like to thank Lila, my facilitator. I couldn't be doing this without her. She's been awesome during this entire process. A little bit about me, more like 20 seconds rather than 20 minutes. My name is Gary Mitchell, and I've been coaching lawyers since 2005. First-year associates up into managing partners and beyond, 35-year veteran QCs, and everything in between. I love what I do. I love working with intelligent people. The thing is, I focus on the business of law, which is not taught in law school. Everything from leadership, business development, practice management, marketing, and so on. All the things you don't get in law school, that's my area of expertise. At the end of the presentation, you'll get my contact information, unless you may already have it. And you can contact me if you wish. That's enough about me. Told you 20 seconds, maybe it was 30 seconds, not 20 minutes. Let's dive right in. So here are the components of what law firm leadership looks like. What are the qualities? What are the skills, attributes, and such? Then we're going to take a look at how leadership affects or should affect practice management. And finally, we will cover how leadership should and does affect administrative management. So, what does a law firm leader look like? And I'm using law firm leader as a term because it is interestingly different than, say, corporate leadership, because corporate leadership, the leaders are just leaders. They're not running a division of the company and leading the company at the same time. So, law firm leadership. Well, leadership comes from a combination of skills and attributes. Understanding and working with both is essential for strong leadership. Typically, the managing partner is usually in the leadership role by default, either because they founded their own firm or because they were elected by their peers. And in most cases, this individual has not had direct training or coaching to develop their skills as a leader, manager. Yet, they have direct control or influence over the way the firm is run. This presents many challenges, as you know, both for you, the individual or managing partner, and the firm. So let's take a look at the difference between the skill set, lawyering versus leading. Well, as you know, most managing partners will have their lawyering skill set very well honed. I mean, that's kind of obvious. Either you're running your own firm and you're running your own firm because you're a great lawyer and you've built a business up, or other lawyers, your peers, have recognized you as a good lawyer, a great lawyer, and elevated you to a leadership role. And so your lawyering skills would include, but are not limited to, analytical ability, attention to detail, logical reasoning, persuasiveness, sound judgment, writing ability, and others. Well, at the same time, successful leaders require skills to formulate and articulate a shared vision for the firm. And I'll talk more about vision in just a moment. Lead the fight for constructive organizational change. Empower and develop lawyers and support personnel. Work collaboratively with the management team. Develop problem-solving and multiple option thinking skills. Make tough decisions. Establish both firm goals and performance goals for all lawyers and support personnel. Seek input from others while coaching and developing them. Confront and deal directly with internal and external, or client, conflict and communications problems. Wow, no small order. And if you are a managing partner or owner of a firm, you know what a tug of war all of this is. And I have the utmost respect for managing partners. I work with a number of them at various different sized firms. And to think all the challenges you have as a leader are compounded by the fact that you also run a practice. It's like 2 full-time jobs. Wow. Let's talk about attributes. These are a little bit more innate, soft skill qualities that reinforce what you say and support your desired actions. Basically, and again, soft skills are sometimes referred to as EQ or emotional intelligence. And basically what that means, without all the fluff, it comes down to your ability to connect. Now think about a politician you admire. If you're joining us in the United States, you've got your own thing going on, but in Canada, we're smack dab in the middle of a federal election. So I love to use this analogy. So think of a politician you admire, if you admire one. And aside from their policies, what draws them to you? It's because of their ability to connect with you and other members of the audience. This ability to connect can lead to their superiority to influence you and others. Great leaders have the ability to influence others, but don't fret. If this doesn't come naturally to you, it is my experience that it can be learned. It can be learned. Vision. Well, there is no leadership without vision, quite frankly. Lawyers in leadership positions who have the vision are able to build consensus, strengthen their teams, and lead change and action. That doesn't mean they or you have all the answers. No one has all the answers. but they have developed excellent relationship building skills they use internally, just as they do with their clients. Because of this, they can inspire confidence in others. It stems from their inclination and ability to listen to their lawyers and support personnel. Again, just as they do with their clients. Then they are able to foster a sustainable relationship with their team. Unfortunately, many firms do not encourage or insist upon their lawyers or their leaders to develop the skills and abilities necessarily to more effectively lead change or action in the firm. Although many firms are adopting competency-based associate development approaches, there's a lack of the same consideration for those at the top. Bit of a dichotomy. So let's look at some of the leadership component summary, and it's no mistake or accident that I chose a visual in the form of a puzzle. You can see how all these parts come together to form great leadership. We've discussed some main components of those qualities of law firm leadership. If this seems daunting or overwhelming to you, especially if you are new in your leadership role, the good news, everything you need to know in order to become an excellent leader can be learned. I'm going to repeat that. Everything you need to know in order to become an excellent leader can be learned. Ongoing leadership training and coaching will help you get there. As I mentioned before, this stuff is not taught at law school, but it certainly determines the degree of a law firm's success. Now, on the topic of success, it can be defined any way you want it to be. That's up to you and your firm. It could be achieving a high degree of profitability, attaining a reputation as the best in practice in your city, province, even the country, fostering highly leveraged teams, enjoying a lean process workflow, and/or experiencing low turnover and a highly productive and collegiate team. Does your firm meet or exceed the definition of your success? And now I'll take questions on the first part, the first section, which are components of law firm leadership. Any questions out there?
None from me.
No? Okay. The effective and efficient delivery of legal services. From my experience, effective delivery of legal services is all about the quality or results of services provided to the client as defined by the client's successful outcome. Efficient delivery of legal services targets cost effectiveness. With billable time defining cost in most firms, essentially anything that saves time is cost effective. Alternatively, in the absence of any practice management, there are huge amounts of time given over to information entry and searching as individuals look for information. Paper files, lawyer calendars, email inbox, online research, electronic documents, the right precedent, etc. Delays erode value to the client. It reduces time for business-related activities, results in frustration, and strained productivity among lawyers and support staff. That costs the firm and your clients money. And folks, I'll tell you, I work with a number of lawyers at various stages, sometimes junior, associates, sometimes partners, on their own individual practice management. And there's a lot of money being left on the table as far as organization, communication, workflow. I'm going to go into it a little bit more in a minute, but the communication internally amongst the team members, as well as the communication with the clients. There's so much money being left on the table. The more lean and mean you can get your practice management on a firm-wide basis and an individual lawyer and support staff basis, I'm telling you, you set yourself apart from the competition by that being lean and mean, highly competitive, and more attractive to your clients. Cannot stress it enough. This is a huge area for opportunity and growth and higher profitability. So, what are the major elements of practice? Identifying the major elements of a practice, discover the following roadblocks to delivering effective and efficient legal services. These 9 areas result in time delays, either requiring individuals to complete processes manually or in delays related to information retrieval or access. So what are the roadblocks? Well, under client and conflict management, roadblock: manually tracked email, spreadsheets, and paper files. Scheduling, roadblock: manually by electronic or paper calendars. Time tracking, roadblock: manually tracked and or standalone time tracking tools used. Billing, roadblock: manual data entry of client and time information and or a standalone billing tool for generation of invoices. Account reconciliation, roadblock: I bet you can guess what's going to come next. Manual reconciliation requiring spreadsheets or dedicated accounting tools. Matter management, roadblock: paper files maintained on-site or physical stored by a physical storage provider, documents stored on lawyer desktops or in a shared folder. Collaboration, roadblock: email or paper documents, in-person meetings, teaming. Remote access, roadblock: remote desktop or remote email client, cloud file share. So you can see there's a commonality here of a lot of manual slowing things down. There's no excuse for it, really. There are so many, and I'll talk about it a little bit in a couple moments more. But there's so many IT solutions and technology solutions, software solutions that remove these roadblocks. So, what should your focus be? Well, generally speaking, your focus should be on improved file organization. Create standards for both paper and computer files from client intake to closed file and beyond. Assist your professionals to better manage their time. Collaborate more efficiently with others, internally and with clients. Leverage the available wide range of IT solutions and new technologies. Create improved integration of business needs, workflow of process automation, document assembly, and data analytics. Remember, I mentioned just a couple minutes ago, I've seen it firsthand. There's so much room for improvement here under these categories of practice management. There's money being left on the table, which can translate to higher firm profits and savings going to your clients, making you more competitive. And identifying issues and providing solutions is easy in the absence of a firm's internal challenges. I know and recognize from experience the kinds of challenges law firms of all sizes experience. Do budgetary constraints and buy-in for initiatives ring a bell? Quite common. Even if your firm is not facing upheaval caused by lawyer departures or declining client relationships, you will encounter other transitional events. And folks, you are not alone. So, some of the areas to measure: evaluating the impact of practice management. Listen, I know your bottom line counts. You got to track your costs of practice management. And you can build a case using these 5 main areas. Lawyer time. Potential billable time lost to administrative activities and information retrieval. Here's an area I've seen like amazing waste. One of the first things I will do, and it depends on various different coaching programs, but I do this with almost every single client, is I do a time audit with the lawyer. And I look at what's on their plate, what can be delegated off their plate so that there's less administration and more billable time, right? There are other people in the office that probably can do the administrative work even better, not to mention at a fraction of the cost. Again, I've said it before, I'll say it again, money left on the table. Another area to consider and measure is support time and the capacity to complete projects. Direct costs of physical file storage. So these would include printing requirements, office space required for files, and the need for third-party storage, real estate costs, and fees charged by third-party providers. Direct cost investment of services, fixed storage limitations, maintenance, and repair. Risk, scheduling errors, loss of misplaced files and documents, mistakes and conflict checks and law society compliance, errors in account management. Those are the 5 key areas I would consider. So what should your focus be? Your focus should be on improved file organization. Create standards for both paper and computer files from client intake to closed file and beyond. Assist your professionals to better manage their time, collaborate more effectively and efficiently with others internally and with clients. Leverage the available wide range of IT solutions and new technologies. Create improved integration of business needs, workflow of process automation, document assembly, and data analytics. Identifying issues and providing solutions is easy in the absence of a firm's internal challenges. We know and recognize from experience the kinds of challenges law firms of all sizes experience. Do budgetary constraints and buy-in for initiatives ring a bell? Even if your firm is not facing upheaval caused by lawyer departures or declining client relationships, you will encounter other transitional events, and you are not alone. So let's talk about evaluating the impact of practice management. I know your bottom line counts. You've got to track your costs of practice management. Build a business case using these 5 main areas. Lawyer time, the potential billable time lost to administrative activities and information retrieval. Support time, the capacity to complete projects. Direct costs of physical file storage, printing requirements, office space required for files, and the need for third-party storage, real estate costs, and fees charged by third-party providers. Direct costs of on-premises IT. This would mean the investment of servers, fixed storage limitations, and maintenance and repair. And finally, risk. Scheduling errors, loss of misplaced files or documents, mistakes and conflict checks and law society compliance, or errors in account management. So where do you start to improve practice management? You start by answering the following questions. Which processes contribute to the firm's largest pain points? Do these pain points weigh more heavily on lawyers or support staff time? To what extent does the firm suffer sunk costs or sacrifice revenue opportunities resulting from current processes? What additional costs and limitations are imposed by the firm's current IT infrastructure or remote access capabilities? What professional responsibility and data security risks do the firm's current and proposed solutions impose? And finally, what are the expected costs imposed by the solution considered? Answering these questions frankly will give you a very clear roadmap of where to start. It might seem like everything is a top priority. This is where you need to include your management team and other partners in the priority setting stage. So to summarize the practice management segment of today's webinar, success involves implementing new approaches and strategies. And to do that, it starts and acts from the top. It is a law firm leadership that makes the difference and can set a firm apart from its competition. If you can't answer the questions above on your own, fair. Build a team of other professionals around you that can and will answer them. Questions on practice management.
and leadership.
No questions on this segment.
And we will move on to leadership and administrative management. Law firm leaders expect employees to follow the rules, follow the policies, and share the ethics and the visions of the firm. In exchange, the employee can stay and will be paid. How can a law firm achieve this intentionally? The first step is to answer the following questions. Who does what? How do they do it? And how do they do it better? What sets and guides desired behaviors and performance? Where do third parties fit into your operations network? When does leadership really count? By taking your answers to these 5 questions and aligning them with your strategically designed goals, you can ensure a sustainable organizational structure. So, who does what and how do they do it better? Many small firms of 30 or fewer employees will talk about how their organization is like a family, looking out for one another. In any organization, individuals are drawn to groups. Groups become working groups. Working groups become advanced working groups. And advanced working groups become an evolved team. How do they do it and do it better? The evolution of an organization is designed to build skills and be productive. As an organization evolves, it becomes more selective and exclusive as the group knows what works and who fits. Sure, members of the firm leave and new ones join, but the key is to have the right people doing the right kinds of work in the right way to be successful. Paraphrasing Jim Collins from his book, Good to Great, get the right people on the bus and get them in the right seats. In other words, get the right people on your team and get them in the right roles. Some considerations. What sets and guides desired behaviors and performance? Once the right people are doing the right work, don't lose sight of creating a culture of learning for ongoing improvement. Ensure the organization has thoughtful policies beyond those legislated and procedures for fair application and constant review. Where do third parties fit in your operations network? As a firm leader, ask yourself, how are our relationships with third parties? Accountant, law society, bank, IT guys, landlord, etc. All support the administrative and operations of the firm. A strong relationship with each of your third parties will result in attention to issues, whereas a poor relationship will cause frustration. When does leadership really count? Most importantly, it is leadership which really counts towards success in the organizational structure. It is the glue that cements all the elements of human interaction together. In startups and when firms merge, strong leadership is required to bring people together. Actively listening, ditching silos, and fostering a team approach are the preferred leadership skills. In a growing firm, a leader's skills to recruit, hire, onboard, evaluate, and provide ongoing feedback are key to retaining and influencing valued employees and growing teams. It is often said that managers are people who do things right, while leaders are people who do the right thing. What then are some characteristics of a successful leadership style? Leaders choose to lead. They are the person others choose to follow. To follow, people must feel confidence in the direction in which the leader is headed. Successful leaders provide vision for the future. Sharing that vision with others in a way that compels them to act is the secret to successful leadership. In this way, successful leaders provide inspiration. The inspirational leader feels passionately about the vision and mission of the organization. Communicating the big picture regularly helps reinforce the reason the law firm exists. Law firm leaders must find ways to make their team feel important and appreciated. Simple common courtesies are one easy way to start. Say good morning. Ask people how their weekend turned out. Listen to what co-workers, peers, and staff members have to say. And of course, living your values, behaving ethically, and leading by example will go a long way towards earning and keeping the respect and performance of your people at the highest level. What about environment and culture? Establishing an environment of continuous improvement where the firm and its people are provided opportunities for growth is essential for successful administrative management. That means investing in the success and growth of your people. Identify with them the specific areas they need to grow in. Once you have agreement on that, then focus on finding the right method and provider to give them exactly what they need. Team. It's all about team. This can be tricky when you're dealing with generational differences, egos, job titles, and hierarchy. One way to cut through all of this is to encourage your team to all focus on one goal. That is, providing the very best service to your clients. Each member of your team is vital in this approach and should all be respected and recognized for their contribution, from your receptionist right up to your most senior and coveted partner. One of the things I advise my clients in creating this culture around team and that one goal focus is having your people constantly ask themselves or ask their coworkers, how can I help you, help me, help the client? I'm going to repeat that. How can I help you, help me, help the client? Very good question to ask, and it keeps people focused on that one goal, which is the client. So let's summarize administrative management and how that's affected by leadership. In review, administration is all about people management, which requires strong leadership as the main skill. Administration is the overseeing of the firm's operations, legal and government compliance, financial status, and people associated with getting everything done. As a sole proprietor, managing partner, office manager, practice team member, or receptionist, they're all administrative tasks. They should all feed into a positive client experience and profitability of the firm. Administrative management is about running the office or operations, and that, circling back to the owners, requires strong leadership. Questions on administrative management and leadership?
When you're managing a team, how do you make sure that nobody is creating a toxic environment?
Well, that's interesting because I was just on a client call this morning with an office manager, and there's a couple of issues there. First of all, you have to be all eyes and ears. You have to be down and dirty with the staff and know what's going on. And when you identify somebody that is, well, the term I use is poison, who can spread negativity throughout the staff, you've got to nip it in the bud right away. You know, the two choices are you sit them down and give them a real tough conversation and give them an opportunity to improve or change their behavior, or you terminate them immediately. Depending on the situation, you know, I mean, I always give advice. I never tell my clients what they should do. That's up to them. It's their business. But I'm of the firm belief that if there's any poison in the midst, that you should get rid of it, because it typically doesn't turn around and it doesn't improve. It just gets worse.
Are there policies that you recommend putting in place, such as a no gossip policy and things like that, to try to keep the toxic environment from festering?
I haven't run into actually advising policies, but you know what? It's a good idea, because the situation is exactly about that. It was two employees communicating over work email, and I've never seen anything like it. The managing partner showed me the dialogue between the two employees, and I was flabbergasted. So was the office manager. This particular situation, they decided not to let the employees know that they are aware of those emails. They're sitting both of them down to have a tough talk. They're not terminating. That's what they've decided. But to nip it in the bud, yes, I would advise to have a policy on the no gossip. I mean, it's this potentially, in this case, I kind of tend to disagree with the client. I think they should terminate because, and I'm not going to get into details, obviously, because everything's confidential with my clients, but I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen any kind of dialogue between two employees over email, talking about other employees, talking about the firm. So if they're talking to each other, what is the likelihood they're talking to other employees? I would say the likelihood is high. And I would also say that kind of behavior and attitude is really tough to turn around. So that's a really fantastic question. Very timely, I might add, because I'm just dealing with that with a client this morning. And I just, you know, poison can spread very quickly. Positive can spread very quickly, but negative can spread even quicker.
Okay, thank you.
Good question. All right. Well, my experience tells me that lawyers can learn the necessary skills to effectively lead their firms. I know, I've worked with them. I've seen it. I've been a part of it. But there must be a desire and willingness to learn. If you have the will to learn, you will. It's the will and will. Again, this is part of a series. Please join us for the next one, which would be on November 5th, and that'll be Law Firm Leadership Part 2. If you didn't get a chance to listen in live and you have questions, feel free to post them to the Water Cooler site. I would like to thank Equa Marketing for sponsoring this Law Water Cooler series. Thank you, Equa. And I'd like to thank Lila, who's the facilitator of this series, for her excellent help. I wouldn't be able to do it without her. Thank you, Lila.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. I'd also like to thank Lisa Dawson, one of my partners at the Law Firm Leadership Alliance. Lisa is an administrative guru out of Vancouver. Law Firm Leadership Alliance was formed by three of us partners, Mayor Gadia, a CPA in Toronto, Lisa Dawson, and myself. It was formed earlier this year to assist the smaller firms who don't have full-time in-house management, to help them grow their firms and, you know, outsource some of the stuff that they don't necessarily need full-time people for, but they definitely need help. So thank you, Lisa, for your content, your support of the content for today's podcast. And folks, you know, I don't talk a lot about myself, but here's my pitch. I've been working with lawyers since 2005, all practice areas from first year right up to 30-year QCs. Different geographical locations. If you'd like to take a deeper dive and find out more about where you're at, where you want to get to, and how I might be able to help, I offer a 30-minute consultation by phone, and so reach out. Thank you for your time. I hope you got something out of today, and hopefully we'll see you next month for Leadership Part 2. Have a great day.